Hello friends, in this video lecture we will discuss flowchart for Gauss-Seidel method as well as the acceleration of convergence. So let us begin. So in our previous lectures we have discussed Gauss-Seidel method to solve the load flow problem. In that we have seen that it is an iterative technique. Okay, so of course that this Gauss-Seidel method, it depends on the initial assumptions. Okay, so we don't know how many iterations we need to carry out in order to solve this load flow problem. Okay, so sometimes it is required to solve this problem quickly in very less time. Okay, so in order to, if you want to speed up the process, or if you want to converge your process rapidly, then in that case we can make use of this acceleration factor. Then in that case we can make use of this acceleration factor. See what that is what it is given here. Convergence in Gauss-Seidel method can be sometime, it can be speeded up. Okay, if you want to speed up the method, then you can make use of this acceleration factor. Okay, now here, let us see how we can use this acceleration factor. So for that, I'm considering here an ith bus. Okay, for that ith bus, let me show you how to calculate or how to obtain the accelerated value of voltage in R plus first iteration. Okay, so let's see here, voltage at ith bus, let's say in R plus 1th iteration. Now we are using an acceleration vector, so I'll write here accelerated value. I'll mention here accelerated value. Okay, and it is given as voltage at ith bus in the previous iteration plus this alpha into voltage at ith bus in present iteration minus voltage on the ith bus in the previous iteration. So with the help of this formula, you will get the accelerated value of the voltage at ith bus in R plus first iteration. If you make use of this accelerated value, then in that case your method will converge rapidly. Okay, instead of directly using this value, that is voltage at ith bus in R plus 1th iteration, if you make use of this value, then your process may converge rapidly. Okay, now the question arises related to this alpha, because definitely we'll have this value voltage at ith bus in rth iteration, and of course we will definitely have these values again. So now the question arises regarding alpha. First let me tell you that this alpha is nothing but acceleration factor. It is acceleration factor. So here, when you are making use of this acceleration factor, it is very much important to choose the value of this alpha very properly. Okay, you should choose the value of this alpha properly, because it plays a very important role here. If suppose if you don't choose the value of alpha properly, then it may decrease the speed. Okay, it may decrease the speed, or sometime it may diverge your algorithm, or sometime it may diverge your process. Okay, so this choice of this acceleration factor, the value of this acceleration factor is quite important, and it is calculated, and it is calculated, this acceleration of factor, it is calculated with the help of trial load flow method. It can be calculated with the help of trial load flow method. Take the consider any value of that alpha, take a trial load flow method. Okay, then you see whether your method is converging or diverging. If it is converging, whether it is converging rapidly or whether it is converging slowly. Okay, based on that you can choose the value of alpha for your system. Okay, the recommended value of this alpha is, the recommended value of this alpha is 1.6. Okay, so please keep this value in your mind. While solving the problems, sometimes this value will be given to you. If suppose if this value is not given to you, then you should make use of this value only. Okay, and of course, unless and until for the power system whose on which you are carrying out the load flow study, if you are making use of this acceleration factor, unless and until its value is specified, please make use of this value only. Only if it is specified, then go for that specified value of alpha. Okay, so that is regarding the acceleration of convergence. Okay, with the help of this acceleration factor, we can obtain the accelerated value of the voltage at ith bus in r plus 1th iteration. So instead of using this normal value, we'll use the accelerated value. Okay, this accelerated value will help us uh, to uh, to speed up the process. Okay, it is helping us to increase the speed of this process, and it will help us to get converge the method rapidly. Okay, so now let us see the flow chart for the Gauss-Seidel method. In last lecture we have discussed the things related to the Gauss-Seidel method. In this method, let us try to understand the flow chart. Of course, we have discussed the Gauss-Seidel method in two cases. In the first case, we have considered the first bus will be the slack bus and remaining all buses were as PQ buses. Okay, and in second case, we have included the PV buses, and we know that process. If all buses are PQ buses except slack bus, then how to carry out the load flow study using this Gauss-Seidel method. And when these PV buses are included, then in that case, how to carry out the load flow method using this iterative Gauss-Seidel method. Okay, now let us try to understand the flow chart for them for the same. So first, from the given power system, you read these values. You obtain these values from the given power system. First, you read the primitive Y matrix. See, this primitive Y matrix is nothing but that matrix. Do you remember this formula that we have seen while discussing the formation of the Y bus using singular transformation method? There we had used this formula, is it? So this Y matrix here is nothing but your primitive matrix. This Y matrix here is nothing but your primitive matrix. In this primitive matrix, we have already discussed how to obtain that primitive matrix. It is nothing but a diagonal matrix, and all the diagonal elements are nothing but the admittances of the each element in the graph of the given power system. Okay, then after that, bus incidence matrix. This also we know how to obtain the bus incidence matrix. Okay, so the third thing, slack bus voltage or the slack bus voltage and phase angle, because normally for the slack bus the voltage we defined it as 1 to the angle 0 degree. It means that voltage magnitude is 1 and the phase angle is 0, or sometime if it is mentioned in rectangular form, we write this in this way. And of course, we always consider slack bus as bus number 1. That is why V1 and delta 1 I have written here. Okay. Now in the fourth step, read the real bus powers. Let that be a PQ bus or PV bus. If it is a PQ bus, real power will be specified. If it is a PV bus, real power will be specified. So can I say that real power on all the buses except slack bus will be specified? You read that value. Okay, for PQ and PV bus. After that, reactive power, it is specified only for the PQ buses. Then you read that reactive power. Okay, next, see here, bus numbers also. You please take care of these bus numbers as well. See, I'm reading the real power for bus 2 to last bus, starting from the second bus up to last bus. But here, reactive power I'm reading from second bus up to M. M is nothing but number of PQ buses. Okay, voltage magnitude. On the PV bus, voltages are specified. So you read out that voltage. And PV buses, they are starting from M plus 1 because up to M, these are PQ buses. So from M onward, that will be M plus 1. Up to N, those will be PV buses. Now, you see, for the PQ bus, voltage constraints will be specified. Voltage constraints are specified. You read those constraints. Minimum value of the voltage and maximum value of the voltage. Again, for PV bus, Q constraints will be specified. Q constraints. So you read that Q minimum and Q maximum for PV bus. See why it is happening for PV bus. On the PV bus, generators will be connected. And of course, your generator will have a limited capacity of supplying reactive power. When it is turned on, definitely it will supply some reactive power. That will be the minimum reactive power. And it has got a certain limit. It can supply the reactive power up to that extent only. So that will be the reactive power maximum. Similarly, for the PQ bus, voltage at that bus, it can be maintained between certain limit. Behind that limit, voltage cannot be maintained. Voltage is not maintained behind that limit. Okay, if that voltage is going behind that limit, then we have to go for the compensation to bring back the voltage to between this range. Okay, of course, if the acceleration factor is given, you read out that acceleration factor. Okay, so from the given power system, first case, if you are solving with the Gauss-Seidel method, you need to read these 9 values. Okay, or you need to read the values in these 9 steps. Okay, now first thing, form the Y-bus matrix. Compute the Y-bus matrix. You can make use of any method. Not necessary that you should go for singular transformation method only. You can either go for direct inspection method or you can go for the step-by-step method. It depends. Yes, particularly when mutual couplings are given, then you should go with the singular transformation method only. Mutual couplings are not given, then you have the liberty. You can either go with the direct inspection method or you can go with the step-by-step method. Okay, next thing, the very important step in the Gauss-Seidel method is to make initial assumptions. Initial assumptions. So we always we make initial assumptions for the voltages. Okay, so as I said that while discussing the Gauss-Seidel method, the voltage at each bus, ideally it should be 1 per unit. So we'll start with that ideal condition only, or that ideal condition we can call that as a flat start. When we assume all the voltages or the voltage at each bus to be 1 per unit, then in that case that starting is nothing but flat voltage start. Okay, next, as we know, there are certain constants are there, that a and bik, these are the constants, ai and your bik, is it? What is AI? It is simply Pi minus JQi divided by YII, and BIK, it is nothing but YIK divided by YII. So these are the fixed values, because power, real power, reactive power on the PQ bus, it is not going to change. Okay, of course, in all the cases, let that be a PQ bus or let that be a PV bus, this will be constant in both the case. Okay, so first let us compute these values. Here you see here AI, I'm computing it for bus number 2 to M. It means that I'm computing this for only PQ buses. Okay, whereas this BIK, I'm computing it from uh, first to nth bus, and definitely here K should not be equal to I. Okay, then this is for all buses. This is for all the buses. Okay, now you set your iteration count to be 0. Okay, set bus count is equal to 2. Here you set this bus count is equal to 2, because first bus is, it is a slack bus, and we know that for the slack bus voltage and phase angle will be specified. And what is to be calculated for the slack bus? Real power and reactive power, and that real power and reactive power we always compute at the end of the load flow problem. Okay, because whatever losses we will compute in the whole system, that losses we will assign to the slack bus, or we will assign that losses to the generators which are connected on the slack bus. Okay, again let us set that change in voltage maximum value to be 0. Okay, again it depends how much value you want to set here. It depends on the accuracy, how much accuracy you are expecting in your system. Based on that you can vary this value. Okay, now after this, say from this only we are calculating for PQ bus, because do you remember while giving the naming or the numbering, we have considered that, of course, first bus it will be a slack bus. Okay, 2 3 up to M, these are going to be the PQ bus, and M plus 1, M plus 2 up to the last bus, these will be the PV bus. Again I have told you that this is the only bus, only one bus, and these comprises of almost 80% buses, and these comprises of roughly only 20% buses. So maximum buses will have PQ type of bus. So let's begin with the PQ type of bus. Let's set bus count as 2. Let us go for the first PQ bus. And on the PQ bus, P and Q will be specified. So what is to be computed? Voltage is to be computed. Okay, so compute this voltage. Okay, after computing this voltage, just now we have discussed the acceleration of convergence. So if you want to make use of that acceleration factor, okay, if you want to speed up this method, then you can make use of this. Okay, now after applying this acceleration factor, you will get this value here. You will get this value of voltage at ith bus in r plus 1th iteration. Okay, now after getting this value, as I just told you that for PQ bus, for the PQ bus, constraints will be on the voltage. So as it is a PQ bus, check for the constraints of the calculated voltage. Whether this calculated voltage it is smaller than maximum value, and then you check if suppose if it is yes, if it is smaller than the maximum value, then you check whether it is greater than the minimum value. Again if it is yes, then you go here Okay, if suppose if it is no, if suppose if it is greater than the maximum value, if suppose this is no, then what we have to do, assign this value voltage at ith bus in the r plus 1 iteration, assign it as this value vi max. Whatever the maximum constraint is there, you put that maximum constraint here. Okay, whereas if suppose if you find that this condition is here, if suppose this voltage at ith bus in r plus 1 iteration, if it is smaller than the minimum value, or I can say if it is a no here, then what we have to do, we have to assign the voltage at ith bus in r plus 1 iteration to be minimum of the constraint, minimum voltage of the given constraint. Okay, then you go for this step, calculate the difference between the voltage in the previous iteration and in the current iteration. You just calculate that difference. Okay, even if suppose if both the conditions are satisfied, then also you have to come to this step. Okay, here you compute this difference, and after that you check this difference with the maximum difference allowed. You check that difference with the maximum difference allowed. Okay, see, we can continue the iteration process till uh, this difference is smaller than or equal to this specified value. Okay, as soon as we get a value here which is greater than this specified value, then we'll go for this method, this side. Okay, if suppose if it is true, then we'll go for this side. Okay, we'll go for this side. First let us see if it is no, that is the difference between the voltage, if suppose if it is greater than the specified value, then in that case what we have to do, assign that difference as the that specified value, assign that difference as to be specified value, as we did here. What we did here, if suppose if the voltage, if it is greater than the maximum value, then we assign that voltage to be maximum value. Same thing here, if suppose if this difference in voltage, if it is, actually it is expected that it should be smaller than this specified change in voltage. If suppose if it goes beyond that, then you assign this variable, that is voltage at ith bus in rth iteration, to be a maximum change in voltage. Okay, then after that increase the bus count, then after that increase the bus count. Okay, whereas if this condition holds true here, then you check whether I is smaller than or equal to m. Why? Because we are checking this, because of course number of pq buses will be there, so this is nothing but checking, do I have still any pq bus. If suppose if it is yes, then we'll go on this way. If it is no, then we'll go for the PV bus. Okay, when it is yes, then what happens? Let's see. It will take you to this point. Okay, because you have to uh, repeat the same thing for the next iteration. You have to repeat the same thing for the next iteration. Okay, again you will go and you can do all these things for the next iteration. Okay, so this way you will repeat your iterations. Okay, if suppose when you arrived at a point where your bus is no more a PQ bus, the coming bus, the next bus, which is if suppose if you come across the bus which is not a PQ bus, then you go here, then you go for the PV bus. So what is to be calculated on the PV bus? Of course, reactive power. Okay, after calculating the reactive power, as I said, for PV bus, reactive power is the constraint, because connected generator has a limited capacity to supply the reactive power. So you check computed reactive power or the reactive power on the PV bus with this maximum and minimum limit. Okay, if suppose if this computed reactive power at ith bus, if it is smaller than the maximum value, let's say it is yes here, then you check whether it is greater than the minimum value or not. If suppose again if it is yes, you will go this side. Okay, if suppose if these two condition, either of these two is holding no, then what it means, reactive power at ith bus, if it is greater than the maximum value, then in that case you assign that you assign that reactive power to be maximum reactive power. Okay, again here, if suppose if that reactive power, actually it should be more than this minimum reactive power. If suppose if you find that if it is less than this reactive power, if it is going below that minimum reactive power, if it is no, then in that case you put that reactive power on that bus in that iteration to be minimum reactive power. Okay, then after that, after finding the reactive power, as I said you that if there is a violation in the reactive power constraint, then what we do now, we'll treat this that bus, we'll treat that ith bus as a PV bus. We'll treat that ith bus as a PV bus. Whereas suppose if these two constraints are not violated, then in that case, what we can do, we can compute this AI and we can compute this delta angle. Okay, if it is violating the condition, then in that case, you treat that PQ bus, okay, you treat that PV bus as a PQ bus. You treat that PV bus as a PQ bus because we are in the discussion of PV bus. Okay, if there is a violation, it's okay. You assign these reactive power values accordingly, and for the next case, you consider that bus as a PQ bus. Okay, and of course, on the PQ bus, we compute this voltage, and on PQ bus, we compute this voltage. Okay, after that, we'll compute this A and we'll compute this delta because if it is a PV bus, so I need here reactive power and I need here reactive power and the phase angle. So I have already calculated regarding the reactive power here. So I will deal here with the phase angle calculation. Okay. After that, you see whether that bus is the last bus. If it is last bus, then we can stop here. Okay. Then we'll say no here. If suppose if it is not the last bus, if it is not the last PV bus, then you go here. Okay, you go here again as it is the PV buses. So you will, it will take you to this point. Again, compute QI for PV bus. Okay, so this way, this process will continue. Okay, again, when this condition, that is, if suppose I is equal to N, if it is reached, or if suppose if I is going more than N, if this condition is reached, then in that case, again, what you have to do, you have to check that maximum change in voltage, whether it is going or whether it is being within the specified limit. If it is less than or equal to this specified value epsilon, then you can increase your iteration count. Okay, and you can again repeat the process for PQ bus and then for PV bus. Okay, if suppose if this condition is violated, if it is no, then in that case we need not to go for the next iteration. Okay, directly we will compute the power for the slack bus and we will compute all the line flows. Okay, so thank you very much.